Hey guys, today we will be learning about mutations. And no, I am not talking about mutants. We will not be talking about Wolverine or Storm. Instead, we'll be looking at our DNA and what happens when things don't quite work to the norm. Now, are all mutations bad? No. It can range from your darling blue eyes to something that can be very lethal. A mutation is simply an error in the replication of your DNA. So let's go check some out. All right, so there are two categories of mutations. We have gene and chromosomal. If those two words seem familiar to you, well, they should. The gene is a mutation that only affects a single gene, and the chromosomal mutation affects the whole chromosome. Clever wording on their part, right? All right, so first we're going to cover gene mutations. Let's look at this sentence. The fat cat ate the rat. Now, we're going to be working with sentences right now instead of DNA sequences, but notice how each word has 3 letters to it. Now, I'm going to be a bit of a daredevil, and I'm going to change the R in rat to B. So now it's the fat cat ate the bat. Not much of a change, but there it is. And we call that a point mutation. You could also see this as substitution, as if, maybe I'm absent and someone else comes to replace me. We replace one letter with a different one. And usually those types of mutations are not as catastrophic. Now, I want to take the F in fat, and now let's see how this sentence has changed. Wow. The sentence looks completely different. I couldn't even tell you what these words were after the. What did I do? I took out a letter, or I deleted it. We call this deletion. Now let's go back to the original sentence, and I'm going to put the cat on a diet, and instead of being a fat cat, it's a flat cat. So I added or inserted the letter L. And my sentence completely changed too, just like deletion. What we just did here is insertion. We actually call this a frame shift mutation because you're literally shifting the framework of your sentence or your DNA sequence. And these types of mutations are much more dangerous than a point mutation. Don't tell me that there are more mutations. How could the body mess up? There's no way. No way. If you think that, you're dead wrong. Let's continue exploring. All right, so now let's look at chromosome mutations. Now here's our chromosomes, and this is how we ideally want them to look like. If I were to take off a piece of a chromosome, that would be deletion. If a piece of a chromosome or the DNA was replicated more than once, we'd have a duplication. If the chromosome breaks off and goes to another location on a chromosome, such as this, it is translocation. It's changing its location. And if I just do this, do a little switcherooski, we have now inverted or changed up the position of the chromosome, which is called inversion. Now, as opposed to point mutations, chromosome mutations have a much more of an effect on an organism because it's the whole chromosome. It could affect the person's life or potential life if it's in utero. Now, we actually also learned about a different type of chromosome mutation while we were learning about meiosis, which is non-disjunction, or when the chromosomes do not separate. So that's when you get monosomy and trisomy. And we also have something called polyploidy. You're like, what? Polyploidy? What type of word is that? And that's when an organism has more than one set of chromosomes than it should have. Think about it. Haploid is one end, diploid is 2 end, polyploidy is many, right? Poly. All right, guys, so that's all we have on mutations. Most mutations can lead to genetic disorders, which you will be exploring in a little bit. I don't want to take away any of the fun by giving you any of those answers. And that's it for the video. So this was all on mutations, and remember, There are no such thing as mutants.